Certainly. Here's a detailed introduction to ancient India, which is, one of the oldest and most culturally rich civilizations in human history. Ancient India refers to the early civilizations and historical developments that occurred in the Indian subcontinent, including what we now know as present-day India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and also parts of Nepal and Afghanistan. Spanning from the Indus Valley Civilization, around 2600 BCE, to the end of the Gupta Empire, around 600 CE, ancient India was home to some truly remarkable achievements in science, religion, mathematics, literature, and philosophy. Also called the Harappan civilization, this was actually one of the world's earliest urban cultures. The major cities included Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Dholavira, and Lothal. It was especially notable for its planned cities, complete with drainage systems and grid patterns. There was also the use of standardized weights and measures, and evidence of trade with Mesopotamia. And interestingly, they had a script that remains undeciphered to this day. The Vedic period was marked by the arrival, or perhaps emergence, of the Indo-Aryans and the composition of the Vedas, which are the oldest sacred texts of Hinduism. Society during this time was organized into varnas, or castes, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Early Vedic religion was polytheistic and ritualistic, but it later evolved into what we now know as Hinduism. The language of this period was Sanskrit. Some of the most important texts from this era include the Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda. Around this time, 16 large states, known as Mahajanapadas, began to emerge across the Indian subcontinent. There was, a remarkable development of urban centers, the introduction of coinage, and the use of written scripts like Brahmi. It was also during this period, around the 6th century BCE, that new religions such as Buddhism and Jainism arose. These were founded by Gautama Buddha and Mahavira respectively. The Maurya Empire was actually the first major empire to unify most of the Indian subcontinent. It was founded by Chandragupta Maurya, with the guidance of his brilliant advisor Chanakya, also known as Kautilya. The greatest emperor of this dynasty was Ashoka the Great, who ruled from 268 to 232 BCE. After the bloody Kalinga War, Ashoka embraced Buddhism and began to promote non-violence and Dharma. His efforts helped spread Buddhism across Asia. The capital of the Maurya Empire was Pataliputra, which is modern-day Patna. After the decline of the Maurya Empire, many smaller kingdoms began to rise. Some of these included the Shunga dynasty, the Satavahanas in the Deccan, and the Kushan Empire in the northwest. King Kanishka, one of the most notable rulers of the Kushan Empire, was a major patron of Buddhism. The Gupta Empire, which lasted from around the 4th to the mid-6th century CE, is often called the Golden Age of India. It was founded by Chandragupta I and really reached its height under rulers like Samudragupta and Chandragupta II. This era is famous for its remarkable achievements in science, astronomy, medicine, mathematics, and literature. In fact, it was during this time that the concept of zero as a numeral was invented. Kalidasa, who is considered one of the greatest Sanskrit poets and dramatists, lived during this period. Prominent centers of learning, like the universities at Nalanda and Taxila, attracted students from all over Asia. The art and architecture from this era, especially the Ajanta and Ellora caves, are still admired today. Hinduism became the dominant religion again, but Buddhism and Jainism continued to flourish as well. During the Gupta period, the Varna system gradually evolved into a more rigid caste system. Joint families and patriarchy were pretty common in society. The status of women varied. While their roles were often restricted, they were still respected in certain areas, such as being philosophers, poets, or even queens. This period also saw the development of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and several important schools of Indian philosophy, like Samkhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Concepts such as ahimsa, or non-violence, karma, reincarnation, and moksha became central ideas, shaping the spiritual landscape of the time. So, when we talk about languages during this period, Sanskrit was mainly used by the elite and for religious purposes. Then there were the Prakrits, which were basically the vernacular languages spoken by ordinary people. And of course, Pali played a really important role, especially since it was used in many Buddhist texts. In terms of science and technology, well, mathematics really stands out. The concept of zero, the decimal system, and algebra, especially the works of Aryabhata, were quite remarkable. Astronomy also saw major advancements, with calculations of eclipses and planetary motions. In medicine, Ayurveda was widely practiced, along with surgical techniques described by Sushruta. And, various herbal remedies were also commonly used. When it comes to literature, the Vedas, Upanishads, Mahabharata, and Ramayana are foundational texts. Then, classical Sanskrit literature includes masterpieces like Kalidasa's Shakuntala and Meghaduta. And let's not forget the Buddhist and Jain texts, such as the Tripitaka and the Agamas. So when we look at the art and architecture of ancient India, we find remarkable creations like stupas, such as the one at Sanchi, and the magnificent cave temples at Ajanta and Ellora. The pillars of Ashoka, inscribed with edicts, stand as enduring symbols of moral governance. Early Hindu temples, with their intricate carvings, showcase the extraordinary craftsmanship and spiritual vision of that era. Well, agriculture really was the backbone of the ancient Indian economy. But trade also flourished, both inland and overseas, reaching places like the Roman Empire, Southeast Asia, and China. The use of coins, the formation of guilds, and the development of state-sponsored trade routes, like the famous Silk Road, all played a major role in supporting this vibrant economic landscape. Ancient India is, without a doubt, the birthplace of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Its contributions in mathematics, philosophy, astronomy, and medicine, honestly, still influence the world today. The region is known for its rich literary and artistic traditions, and the spiritual and philosophical ideas that emerged here spread throughout Asia, shaping and inspiring civilizations on a global scale. So, would you like to explore any part in more detail? For instance, we could dive deeper into the Gupta Golden Age, the fascinating Indus Valley cities, or maybe the philosophies of Buddhism and Hinduism. Just let me know what interests you most.